What in the world is that, I hear you cry? Well, it's a water filtration system. And what that's doing is it's taking all the dirty water that you've used to clean your brushes, to clean some of your containers, and you've just had it sitting there, standing there in the studio or in your art room for a period of time. And this is an opportunity for you to be able to filter that paint and ultimately pour fresh water down the sink while throwing that in the trash. And yes, it doesn't look great, but it's pretty cool once you get it going. So this video is going to walk you through the process. And one thing I would advise is do this in a well-ventilated room or outside. It's probably the best bet. And so that's the main issue. In the meantime, please hit the subscribe button and like if you like this video, and I'll make more of them. I've been spending most of this morning mixing up my high level and low level density paints. As you can see here, I've got quite a bit for a painting I'm planning on doing this weekend. And as a result of doing a lot of mixing the last few weeks, I have got a ton of dirty paint water. And I know a big issue for most folks that are doing it to record and even watching these YouTube videos is, what do you do with that dirty water when you're done with it? So I'm going to take you through the process of how I filter that water and ultimately throw away the clean water that comes out of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically remove all the things that have been sitting inside my dirty water. I try and recycle as much as I can, and these little cups that I use with lids have been sitting in that water, so it's easy for them to just wash off outside. But I need to take all that out. Now I've literally just got a bucket of dirty paint water, and I'm going to use this product, the Crash Paint Solids container, to neutralize, first of all, the paint in the water, and then wait some time before I add the second one, and you'll see what happens next. So in the box, you get a whole bunch of these filters. You get the little bucket to put your paint water into. You get a colander to put the filter in, and a big bucket to do the filtration piece. The first thing you do is you take this solution and you fill this little capsule up top by squeezing. So I've squeezed the bottle, and if you can see, it's brought it up to the level just below the top, which is for a full gallon of water, and I've got just below that, so I think that's going to be enough. I'm going to pour it straight into the bucket. That full measure is now displaced into the bucket. I'm going to give that a stir, and then I'm going to let that sit for 30 to 45 minutes. And then I'm going to do the next step. I'll be right back. I should also mention that this stirring tool, which is basically just a paint can stirrer, comes in the box as well. So I just give it a nice stir and then leave it alone for the duration. And I'll set a timer to let me know when that's done. So the interesting thing here, because I misread it a little bit, actually I'm just supposed to stir for 30 seconds. And it says, if I'm accumulating paint water for several days, which I am, cover with the white lid. And I just understood why. It smells. Now it's not overwhelming, it's not absolutely terrible, but it's definitely got a pungent odor. So I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes. Now the next step is to simply put this to the side for a few moments while you grab the bucket, the colander, and the filter. And you're supposed to spray the filter with a spray bottle. I guess this helps line the colander more than anything else, is what I suspect. There we go. Make sure it's sitting there the way you want it to, because you're about to pour the water in, you don't want it to suddenly flop about. Take your bucket that you've just filled, put your second set of solution in. You can see it's already starting to separate from the water, and slowly pour onto the filter. Now do this very slowly so you don't have too many drips. And that's the bottom of my bucket, and that's all I'm going to have to wash out outside. typically do this using a hose that goes straight on the grass. I don't see that as a super huge problem. This water is simply starting to filter through, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few seconds. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and a lot of the water has already settled out of it, which is good, but clearly it's going to take longer than just a few minutes. So I'm guessing probably about an hour or two. It says on the paper to leave it overnight, but I'm guessing it's going to be done long before that. Anyway, I realized as soon as I said it that taking that bucket and swishing it out, throwing that on the yard was going to raise all kinds of concerns with folks. But I can assure you there's nothing coming off of this bucket after you've just done the swish around. For those people that want absolutely everything off the sides of their bucket, I would suggest that when you do the stir with this stick, you really go to town on every inch and corner of the bucket itself. But do be careful. I mean, there are chemicals in there. Obviously the chemicals aren't too bad, otherwise you wouldn't be able to just flush this. But for the meantime, we're going to keep the process going. And while I was waiting, I did find some additional dirty paint water that I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to add this to the bucket. There's nothing sitting in there. Just pour that in. That'll do its job. That out of the way. Here's the second one. Some more dirty paint water. Add that to the mix. That'll separate out as well. And we are all set. Okay guys, well it's several hours later, probably 3 hours later, and it's pretty much done. This is what's left in the filter. Basically just fold this up and put it in the trash, and look what's underneath. A whole load of water. Okay, now just pour it down the sink. Isn't that cool? Awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you found this useful or have any questions, please leave your comments and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Anyway, have a great day.